Hi guys, I hope everyone had a good St. Patty's Day. Today we are going to be talking about nonfiction text features, and we're going to be using our Journeys book again today. And when we use text and graphic features, we're talking about how they help us to understand informational texts. And text features like headings and captions help to organize our information, while visuals like diagrams and charts present information to us. And good readers use text and graphic features to help them understand the concepts and ideas presented about a topic. So we know that for our topic for this week, our text and graphic features are going to help us to better understand the life of an ant. To start, let's review some of the most common text and graphic features that we've seen throughout the year. And it's important that we look out for these features not just in our ELA book, in our Journeys book, but that we also look out for them in social studies and science and how they can help us in those subjects too. So in one of the links listed under the ELA assignment, there is a chart of nonfiction text features. And if you open up the PDF, it looks like this. You don't have to open up that right now because you can just follow along with the video. But at the end, you can go back and look at the different text features. There are 3 pages worth of them, but for today, we're just going to talk about a few that we see in our own text. So the first one I want to talk about is the heading, and I know it's a little hard to see that paper, I'm sorry. So headings divide the text, excuse me, I'm a little cold, divide the text into sections and explains what the sections will be about. So if I look at my example over here, I could see it in a science textbook, and this one says central nervous system, and then I have brain and spinal cord. So I know that my 2 texts are going to be about my brain and my spinal cord. So they're kind of a little roadmap for me while I'm reading. The next 2 we're going to be talking about are diagrams and bold print. So diagrams explain information or how something works in a visual way. So we can see our example would be an eye and the diagram of the eye, so it shows us the different parts. And bold print shows what words are important. Sometimes they can be in the glossary. If you notice in our social studies textbook, that's the case. We can look in the back in the glossary for those important words. And if we look at this example, it says the digestive system is made up of organs and glands that help your body process food. I know since these words are bolded, I'm going to have the definition of them somewhere in their important words in my reading. The last 2 we're going to be talking about are illustrations and captions. So illustrations are basically just a fancy word for pictures. And it shows what something looks like, and it's drawn by an artist. So I can see the difference between a photograph and a drawing. My photograph is an actual picture taken with a camera, and my illustration is a drawing. And my last one is caption, and this explains what my photograph or illustration is of. So if this was my picture or my illustration, then my caption would be, this is the side view of the human brain, because it tells me what my illustration is of. And we know from our text for this week, we have lots of illustrations and captions portraying the life of the ant. So what would like you guys to do right now is to turn to page 414 in your Journeys textbook. And you can pause the video right now if you need a little time to do that. And you also are going to need a blank piece of paper. So I'll let you guys grab one of those. Once you guys get your blank piece of paper, you're going to set it up just how I have mine on the video. You guys can see that. Okay. So if you notice, I took my big piece of paper. If you have a lined piece of paper, that's fine too. And I'm going to split it up into 3 columns and then about 3 rows. Or you can do 4 rows if you have space. My first column is going to be about the text or the graphic feature that we're talking about. The second column is going to be the page number that we found that text or graphic feature. And my last one is the purpose of my text or graphic feature. That's the most important part, where you figure out why we're using that text or graphic feature. If you guys need to pause the video now to set up your page, you can pause it and then hit play when you're ready to go. So by this point, you should have your graphic organizer made, just like mine, and you should be on page 414, and the heading on page 414 is inside an anthill. What I want you guys to do is, in your first text and graphic feature, we're going to write down heading, and we are going to be talking about the heading on this page, which is inside an anthill. You guys can follow along with me as I'm writing. My page number that I found it on is page 414. If you guys need to pause the video to write that down, that's fine, and play it when you're ready. Now, as I'm going through this example, once you guys have these two things written down, I want you to stop and I want you to just listen. Just like we do in class when I model, I want you to just listen, and then when I say go, you can start writing down again, all right? Now I want to know how this heading helps me to better understand my reading in this section. And so I know that headings divide my text into sections, and it helps me to better understand what I'm reading. And I know that it also explains what my sections are going to be about. So I know that my heading for this section is inside an anthill. So this is to let me know as a reader that the information in this section will be about the inside of an anthill and what it looks like and what goes on underneath the soil in an anthill. And if I need to find information about either of these topics, then I know that I can flip to this section and the heading will signal to me that that's what I'm going to find in this text. So if I was going back to my sheet, the purpose of my heading is to tell me that this section will be about the inside of an anthill. You guys can pause the video now and you can fill in your chart just so I have mine filled in. And when you're ready, you can hit play again and we'll go on to the next one. Our next one is going to be on page 416 through 417, so you can turn your journeys up to that page. I have the same in mine. It's a little bit like this. So the next two features we're going to talk about are bold, print, and captions. And just to mention, as we're going through this, we have illustrations everywhere. This is an illustrated nonfiction book. So we're throughout the whole thing using our illustrations too. And so within the illustrations on these two pages, I see bolded text, just like here where it says tunnel digger. And underneath tunnel digger, underneath my bolded text, I have a caption as well. So it says, as the population grows, ants dig more tunnels for the increased traffic and new chambers to store the eggs and larvae. So take a second to copy down my two text features. If you need to pause it, that's fine. I'm going to do it with you guys as you go. So I have bolded text and captions. And this is on page 416 through 417. And now I want you guys to pause the video and I want you guys to try to determine the purpose of my bolded words and my captions on page 416 through 417. One of the key questions to ask yourself is, what does the author want me to learn about in these two pages? So pause the video and fill in the purpose column, then play the video when you're ready to check your answer. So the answer, our purpose for this one, is to tell me about the different types of ants. Types of ant workers, my bad. To tell me about ant workers. In the different roles they have. My bolded text tells me what type of ant they're going to be talking about. So what job? Tunnel digger, guard, foragers. On the other page says nurse ant and queen tender. And then underneath in my caption, it's going to tell me what that job is that it has. All right. So as we finish up, I would like you guys to find one other nonfiction feature in the text from this week. It can be a heading, a bolded text, a caption, an illustration. You can go to your nonfiction text features and pick a different one if you'd like. I would love that. And what I would like you to do is fill it out exactly how we did these ones. So I'm going to have my text or graphic feature, my page number, and then my purpose. Once you have done that, you're actually going to fill out a Google form with your answers on it. It'll have the same exact setup just in the Google form sheet. So my text and my graphic feature, my page number, and my purpose. If you are getting stuck, I'm going to leave up some possible pages and possible text features if you're having trouble finding them, and you can do one of these.